Good morning. Waiting on you. Yes, you. Still waiting on you at the top row. You're still talking. Now we're all going to look at you. Thank you. All right. Students, I want you to give your undivided attention to someone who's going to speak to you today. It's our district attorney. She is here. Ms. Sosebee is with us. We also have one of our board members here, and she has some other people she's going to introduce. We even have our PTO president here today. We're all interested in what she is about to talk to us about, and I think you might find it very interesting and maybe a little bit enlightening, maybe a little scary for some of you. Okay? So without further ado, y'all give a big welcome, warm applause.
Thank you. How are you guys doing this morning? Good. I will tell you that I have two boys that go to West Bend Elementary School. So I got them there about an hour early this morning so I could get down here, and they were not amused with me. But I am thrilled to death to be here. Just to let you guys know, I am the district attorney in the Appalachian Judicial Circuit. There are 49 judicial circuits in the state of Georgia, and I represent Fannin, Gilbert, and Pickens counties. So one of the main responsibilities that I have as district attorney is when a case is investigated by law enforcement, if they take a warrant, if they write a citation, if they file a complaint, the next step that they do is they take that and they send it to the district attorney's office. And we decide, A, if we want to prosecute that case, and B, if we do prosecute that case, what we want to see happen. If we're going to seek probation, if we are going to seek a served time in the county facility, if we're going to seek prison time. And it is a huge, huge responsibility. So I'll tell you a little bit about how we ended up here. And it came about a few months ago when I was sitting at home one night and I had a file in front of me and I was going through it because I was going to have to try a case the next day. And so I'm going through and I'm making sure that I've got everything ready, and I'm flipping through the file again, and I come across a naked picture of a 13-year-old girl. At which point in time I decide that if I have to look at one more of these pictures, that I may take a high leap off of a short bridge, because it is absolutely upsetting to me that individuals who are your age may be engaging in things that will have lifelong consequences and you don't realize it at the time. So at that point in time, I realized that we needed to do something. So at 9:15 on a Monday night, I picked up the phone and I called all Superior Court judges. I called the sheriffs in 3 counties. I called our chief juvenile court judge and said, we need to sit down and have a meeting. And I will tell you that I have the very, very esteemed pleasure of introducing our chief juvenile court judge, Mr. John Wooster, who is here. So if everybody could give Judge Wooster a round of applause. Judge Wooster actually sits in juvenile court and hears a lot of these cases that come through, and also sits by designation in Superior Court, which is the adult court, where when you get prosecuted, you do run the risk of going to serve time in the county facility or in the state prison system. And I think when we sat down and we talked, we all agreed that it was really important to get into the community, to be able to, A, talk to the parents about what is going on, but also to talk to you guys to let y'all know the ramifications of what happens, not just criminally, but in your lives. So I started thinking about this and how we were going to do the presentation, and I started thinking back to when I was young, and I thought, gosh, why is it that all of this information is getting put out there by you guys, whether it's on Facebook or Vine or Instagram, all the social medias. You've got cell phones, you're communicating 24 hours a day, and I realized that's it. When I was growing up, we didn't have that. We had a corded telephone line in the house, and I got to stand in the kitchen and have my conversations in front of my mother. And I thought back to one day when I came home from school. I can't remember. I got maybe later in middle school, early high school, and I was so incredibly upset. Now, you have to understand, my mother is the most patient individual on the face of the planet. And I came home, and I had whined and moaned and cried for about 2 hours. And it was over some boy. And she finally looks at me and she goes, "You know what?" She said, "Your generation just thinks you invented that. Flirting and dating and liking each other and all of that stuff." At which point in time, I thought, that is gross. I do not want to think about you and Daddy like that. But you know what? She had an excellent point. The older I got, the more that I realized every generation thinks that they have invented it, that you're the first people that have ever felt that way. And so what has happened with you guys is pretty unique. It's the first time really in society that you have had full access to the entire world at your fingertips via your cell phones, your tablets, and your laptops. But with that access comes a huge, huge responsibility, because essentially what you guys are holding are tiny sticks of dynamite in your hand waiting for the fuse to be lit. So, Alright, so I started thinking about how do people communicate at the beginning of time? Writing on cave walls. Great, huh? Let's go eat. Hang on, I gotta post this on my wall. Early Facebook post. So, after that, I told y'all about my first cell phone. This would be it. It came in a bag. Come on, you know you're jealous. I got this phone when I was in college. I thought I was the biggest, baddest thing going. I could be in my car, driving down the road, and I did not have to stand on that corded telephone line, talking in front of my mom. When I finally found a picture of this thing, it really did not do my ego a whole lot of good when I realized it came from vintagegear.com. Because frankly, it does not feel like it was that long ago that I am sitting right where you guys are. Before we get started today, I want to do a little exercise with you guys. In your head, in your mind, I want you to think about the most important possession that you own. That if you didn't have this possession, your life is going to come to a screeching halt. You think you are going to die, you're not going to survive. All right, in your heads, in 3, 2, 1. Now, I want you, in your minds, to put that possession in that box. Now, you have it there. The next thing I want you to do, let's think about who is your best friend. Who is the person you trust the most that you would tell your deepest, darkest secrets to, you would give your present to? Because now I want you to take that present with your most valued possession and give it to that person. Forever. You never, ever, ever get it back. So, let me tell y'all something. In the district attorney's office, we deal with a lot of sensitive information, and one example is that picture of the girl that I told you about earlier, that she had taken of herself and she had sent to a boy that got distributed halfway through her school. So we deal with all of this sensitive information, and it is really important to me that I have trust in my office, that I trust the people that I work with. And so before we came here today, I decided I wanted to do a little bit of a team building exercise. So I have a couple of people that are here from my office. Could you guys come up here? I know you love coming up here and probably didn't know you were going to get roped into this. This is Tricia Alderman. She is our Director of Victim Services, and that is Brian Stanford. He is my Chief of Staff. And I'll tell you what we did this morning. I started thinking about this, and I thought, how is it that we can know we can trust one another? So when we got here this morning, we sat down, and we wrote down our most embarrassing secrets on a piece of paper and put them in a box. These boxes. And then we traded them. So I have Brian's box, Brian has Trish's box, and Trish has my box. Now, I'm going to tell you something. When I got here this morning and we started doing this entire exercise, Trish was a little snippy with me. I guess she's not really a morning person. And frankly, I had just decided that I had had enough of her. I'm over it. How about we open up Trish's box? You think I can get Brian to give it to me? Why don't you bring it on over? Give it to me. Well, I did hire you, so I'm glad you have some honor, but I anticipated this because, frankly, I was sick of Trish before this morning. I was sick of Trish last night when I started thinking this project up. By the way, I didn't write anything down on my piece of paper when I put it in the box because why would I ever do that? They, however, did. I went by the bank this morning, got $100. How about now? I know what his price is. It would be $100. Why don't you go have a seat? We might open this box in a few minutes. I told you, I was sick of you. So, let's think about this for a second. You've given your most valued possession that you could possibly have to your best friend to keep forever. Now, I'm getting ready to tell you a very technical legal term. Takesy-backsies. There are no takesy-backsies once you have given it to that person. So, now, I will tell you I have had the privilege of going through elementary school and middle school and high school, and I went to college, and then I went to law school, and I have made a lot of great friends in my life. I can't think of a single friend at one time or the other that I wasn't upset with, irritated with, or arguing with, or they weren't with me. So, you have now given your most valued possession to the person that you trust the most. What's going to happen when they get upset with you? What are they going to do with your most valued possession? Break it, sell it, show it? Well, let me tell y'all something. I can assure you that whatever it is that you put in that box will never, ever, ever be more important than your dignity. So, what is dignity? Defined in the dictionary, the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. I can define it for you real easily. Having dignity is being able to hold your head up when you walk down the hallway, go and sit in the lunchroom and not worry about what people are saying about you because you are proud of yourself. That you haven't done anything that you should be embarrassed of. And the problem is once you lose your dignity, once you lose that sense, it's like trying to unring a bell. It's impossible. So one of the really important messages that I'm here to tell you guys today is do not waste your time and energy and lose your dignity and self-respect for someone who does not have the ability to love or care for you. So you're sitting there going, what does that mean? What if I really, really, really like this boy and I really, really, really want him to like me and he asks me to send an inappropriate picture of myself? Yeah, well, let me go ahead and tell you, that would be someone that does not have the ability to love or care for you, because someone who has the ability to love or care for you is never going to ask you to do something that would hurt you. For example, if you really, really, really like this girl and she says, hey, drink that cup of Drano, I might go out with you on Friday night. That's idiotic, right? Yeah, well, go ahead and say you can equate that cup of Drano to someone asking you to do something that is inappropriate. Because when you do things like that, when you put that information out there, it's out there forever. And once you lose your dignity and self-respect, it is very, very difficult to earn that back. So, one of the big reasons that I'm here is based on that meeting that I told you guys about, where the sheriffs and the judges in my office and the school resource officers sat down. And we talked about this specific issue being a problem of sexting, the sending or receiving of explicit or suggestive text or pictures via phone, webcam, or other electronic means. It's a very broad term. You take an inappropriate picture of yourself. You send an inappropriate text. That is what constitutes this. So let's talk about the ramifications of that. I love Woody. It's actually one of my kids' favorite movies, but I love sitting there watching it. And I'll tell you, it is very, very easy to create and share personal information and photos and videos of yourself. And really and truly, most of the time, it is not that big of a deal. Until you start sharing information that is a little too personal, and the ramifications can have lifelong consequences. Not just to your reputation, but potentially to your safety. I will tell you, I love living here. Love, love, love living here. I was born, raised, educated all up here in North Georgia. There's not another place that I would rather be to be with my family. When you start talking about the internet, when you start talking about being able to connect to anyone throughout the entire world, you're not just limited to the people that are in our community. You're opening yourself up to a whole entire group of people. And I will tell you what I tell my kids. There are some people out there that are just bad that need to go to prison. And the thing is when you open yourself up, when you put that information out there on the internet, on social media sites, you are exposing yourself to all of those bad people. And you have to be very, very, very careful. My kids have an Xbox. They have this set up where they can go online and they can play online with their friends. We have a rule. They're not friends with anybody unless I know the kids and I know the parents. So, I try to keep a pretty good watch on it. And I walk into the living room one day and I hear my 9-year-old talking to this little boy through the television, because I make them run volume so I can hear it. And I hear this boy, I don't know, say, "Hi, my name's so-and-so and I live in Michigan. What's your name and where are you at?" And as much as I would love to think that my son was not going to tell him, the only reason I'm convinced that he didn't is because he felt me staring a hole in the back of his head as I was listening to this conversation occur. And the simple fact of the matter is you know what? He might have been a perfectly nice boy sitting in Michigan playing Xbox with his family. At the same time, he might have been a 40-year-old registered sex offender that was trying to find out where we lived. You don't know who you are talking to on the other end. So let's say that you send a message. Okay? Let's say you really, really, really like this boy. Y'all are in this loving, committed relationship together. You know you are going to be together forever and ever and ever because you're middle school and you know that, right? So you send a message. How far is that message going to travel? What happens next? So it doesn't matter how you send it because they all operate the same. To YouTube, Vine, Kick, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. It doesn't matter. It doesn't stop. To quote Buzz Lightyear, Woody's friend, it goes to infinity and beyond. It is not a car that runs out of gas. There is not a stop button. It just keeps going. So, let's talk about the digital environment a little bit. You guys don't realize it, but every single time you go online, you create a digital footprint. You leave on the internet every single time you go on, that you like a video on YouTube, that you go to a specific website. All of it comes back to you, and it provides data about you in the digital environment that may affect your real life reputation. It could be Facebook profiles, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all of it. And you're sitting here going, but how would you know it's me? It's very, very easy. It's unique to you. Y'all are creating your digital footprints right now. It's one of the scary things about having full access with the cell phones and the tablets and the laptops that you guys have, because you are molding your online image at this point in time, and it won't go away. So you like a video on YouTube, and I'm fairly certain that what you like now, you probably may not like next week, next year, or 5 years from now, but the data that you put out there is traceable right back to you. Is that what you want people to know about you? So, easiest way to determine what your digital footprint is, Google your name. And it's not just your name. Your accounts are all tied back to you too, but Googling your name is something that would be part of your digital footprint that you're creating. So why is this important? Because you want to consider what your future holds. This is one of my favorite quotes by Dr. Seuss. Oh, the places you will go, you will be on your way up, you will be seeing great sights, you will join the high flyers, you will soar to high heights. I told you I felt like it really hadn't been that long ago since I was sitting in that seat, and it really doesn't feel like it's been that long. You know, I had the privilege of being able to go into college and go into law school. I remember sitting there in your seat thinking I could do anything in the world I wanted to do. Anything. Frankly, I felt like there wasn't anything I could do that I could screw up that my parents couldn't fix for me. I will tell you right now, these sticks of dynamite that you are holding in your hand, there is no fix-it button. Mom and Daddy can't make it right. Once it's out there, it is out there. So, are you going to go to college, or are you going to get a job? I am fairly certain that unless we have any trust fund babies out there, that one of these two things are going to be in your future. So, if we are talking about going to college, you're competing to get a spot in a school, you're competing for scholarships. Do you not think they'll Google you? That they'll check your online accounts to see what kind of person you are before they waste their time and their resources on you? I can tell you right now, I had the privilege of being in private practice for several years before I was elected district attorney. And being both in private practice and being district attorney, I have had so many people apply for jobs with me. And I will tell you right now, I Google every single person. I want their Facebook passwords, I want their Instagram passwords, I want their Twitter, because I'm going to tell you what right now, if they got a naked picture out there of themselves, I do not want them. That is a big red flag, no, but I'll tell you something else. If they are a gossip, if they are mean, frankly, if they act like an idiot on those accounts, I don't want them either. Because I don't want those people in my environment corrupting the people that I have worked so hard to put together. Why would I want you when I've got 15 other people behind you? What you guys don't realize, what you are putting out there now is part of your digital footprint that is going to be Googled, that is going to be checked. You guys have a lot of freedom with that, but a huge responsibility. So, think before you send or post pictures or other personal information, because every single time it is an electronic fingerprint, it is a digital footprint that can damage your college careers, future employment opportunities, and reputations with your family and your friends and your neighbors. So that little girl that I told you that kind of got it all started that night that I was sitting there and realized that I was sick of looking at these pictures. Every single time she would come into court, she was crying. She was boo-hooing. Finally, one day, I pulled her aside and I said, this is about the 4th time we've been here for motions hearings and getting ready for this trial. Every single time you come in here, you are crying. I'm sorry, and I hate to sound insensitive, but it just got old after a while. So I pulled her aside and we're sitting there and we're talking. And you know what she says to me? She said, but you don't understand. My daddy won't look me in the eye anymore. That was rough. Because she was dating this boy, and he asked her to send him a picture. She did. And, he being a thoughtful, southerly gentleman, only sent it out to 5 of his best friends. It hit half the school before we caught it. So, we start our prosecution on the case. And I will tell you, when she was sitting there, she took the photograph and she sent it of herself to that little boy because she just really, really, really wanted him to like her, that she didn't think that the sheriff's department would have gotten a hold of it, that school administration would have gotten a hold of it, that the district attorney's office would have gotten a hold of it, and all the people in all of those offices have seen it, but then the privilege of her getting to go into court and have everyone else there see it too, including her mom and dad and the judge and jury. And her daddy won't look her in the eye anymore. So, here's the deal. Brace yourself, the embarrassing pictures from yesterday are coming. You just don't know when it's going to hit. So let's say you take that box, you've given it to your best friend, you put your dignity inside it. You put your most personal information, you put those pictures in there. We all know what Brian's selling price is. It was $100. What's your friend's selling price? Going to be that they get mad at you, that you started dating somebody that they wanted to date, you didn't sit with them at the lunchroom table when they wanted you to? What's it going to take? The embarrassing pictures are coming, you just don't know when. So when I go in and I talk to schools, and I have talked to a lot of students, as a matter of fact, I have talked to all of the middle schools in Feeney, Gilmer, and Pickens. I've gone to talk to the high schools. One of the things that I stress upon young people is if you follow 4 general rules, you will not see me as district attorney with me prosecuting you. And I know you guys find me absolutely charming today. I am not charming in court at all. 4 rules. Y'all can bank the first 3 for when you get a little older. Number 1, do not speed when you drive a car. Number 2, do not follow another car too closely. Number 3, do not text and drive. And number 4, don't be stupid. I will tell you right now, every single thing that I am telling you guys about falls in category number 4, don't be stupid. So here's a good guide for you guys to go by. If you have to sneak to do it, lie to cover it up, delete it to avoid it being seen, and you probably shouldn't be doing it. All those text messages you delete because you don't want your mom and dad to see, all those photos, the Snapchats, you probably shouldn't be doing it. So you're sitting there and you're going, how in the world is she going to know what's on my phone? How's she going to know? Is she going to know what's on my tablet or my laptop? I will tell you that I have been absolutely amazed at the resources of law enforcement. We have this wonderful little tool called a cell phone dump. It is not that kind of cell phone dump. The cell phone dump that we have creates an exact mirror image of your hard drive. So all these little phones that you guys are hearing around are miniature computers. So when we take your phone or your tablet or your laptop, we plug it into the software that we have, create that mirror image, which means we get all of your photos, your text messages, every bit of data you have put on that phone, whether it is new or deleted. Well, let's think about that. The only way I'm not going to get your deleted information off a cell phone dump and creating a mirror image of your hard drive is if you have actually put so much information onto that device that the deleted information is being overwritten. Let's think about how long it would actually take you to fill up all the memory on your devices. A long time. So all of the apps that you guys might have on your phones that you might have hidden in the background so your parents won't see the apps running, we get every single bit of it. Your emails, your internet history, everything. So I was talking at a high school in another county back last year, and I'm talking a little bit about cell phone dumps, and there's this little girl up front, and she raises her hand, and I said, yeah. She goes, I have a passcode on my phone, and therefore you can't get in it. To which I told her that that might keep her mom and dad out of her phone. It would not keep me out of her phone. So you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, but how's she going to get a hold of my phone? Well, I'm here because there's an obvious problem that is going on with young people using their devices for things that they shouldn't be doing. And I will tell you, when I get one phone, and let's say I have an upset child that has had a picture distributed, I have had a parent that has seen inappropriate material on their child's phone and reports it, I get one phone, I've done that, it will typically lead me to about 5 more phones. Because all of the contact that you have with your friends in the electronic world is recorded on those devices. So I get that one phone, it leads to 5. I take those 5 phones, and then of course that leads to 25. It grows exponentially every single time I take a step. So I can assure you, if you have a diligent parent and an upset child or somebody that just wants to get you in trouble, it just takes one to start the dominoes falling. So, other resources that we have, data retention. One of my favorite 2 words that I have ever heard. Data retention is a policy on servers. So all of these apps that we're talking about, Vine and Twitter and Snapchat, Yik-Yak, Facebook, they all have data retention policies on their servers. So let's say that you tweet something, you snap something. You realize that I get to write this nice little letter to these companies and say, hi, my name's Alison Sosebee, I'm district attorney. I want so-and-so's account for everything they have. By the way, that's not just what's visible on your account, it's everything that you've posted, deleted, or hidden. So I will tell you, one of my biggest frustrations is with Snapchat. And I'll tell you guys why. They sell y'all a false bill of goods. Snapchat, take a picture, send it to your friend, it disappears into the ether sphere in 10 seconds. Number one, I'm not quite sure what anybody would be doing that they would need to have a picture disappear in 10 seconds. But, do you realize Snapchat got sued in a federal lawsuit, I believe it was last year, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, false advertising, because by the way, it does not disappear into the ether sphere in 10 seconds, but also because their security systems were so bad, they got hacked so many times by people out there in the digital world that were distributing all of the images that were stored on Snapchat's server under their data retention policy. And so when I went online to try to find the data retention policy, I saw this neat little thing they actually had on their website. It's not impossible to circumvent the Snapchat app and access the files directly, and they actually tell you you need to consider that before putting any state secrets into your selfies. That would be what we call in law enforcement a clue. So, you read on a little more. In addition, as for any other digital information, there may be ways to access snaps while in this temporary storage on recipients' devices and through or forensically. Forensically, fancy word for the cell phone done. So you create, in this example, a digital imprint when you take the snap on your phone. When the person receives the snap, they create a digital imprint when they open it. Now, you're sitting there going, yeah, but that's a digital imprint. Well, what if they screenshot it? You know, you might get an alarm that they screenshot it. It's also trying to unring a bell, because once they have that picture, your dignity is sitting in that box and they are holding it till they get mad at you. And it's all the same with every single company. Now, by the way, I don't need y'all's phones, tablets, or laptops to get any information from the servers. And I can also go locally to the cell phone companies. Do you know their data retention policy for text message detail and call detail records is up to 2 years? 2 years, and I don't even have to touch your phone, your tablet, or your laptop. You wouldn't even know that I had received the information. Do I have any volunteers in here that would let me read their text messages from the last 2 years? Oh, we got some good ones. All right. Hopefully I will never see any of you guys. You can lower your hands. But I'll tell you right now, if you're a tech person, you probably saw this coming. Nothing is ever truly deleted on a server, and anyone who tells you otherwise is 100% wrong. So you're sitting there going, yeah, but what if law enforcement doesn't get a hold of this? Well, I told you I've been doing parent forums too, and the great thing about it, there's tons of software out there for your parents. I picked Jasper Mobile only because it seemed to have exceedingly high ratings in terms of satisfied customers. Jasper Mobile basically allows your parents to do a mini cell phone dump on your phone, that they can read your current text messages, your old text messages, your current photos, your old photos, your internet history. They can find out where you are through GPS location, and guess what? It can be downloaded onto your phone remotely. You would not even know that it's there. Another one I kind of like is My Mobile Watchdog. And all of these are very similar. With this particular one, your parents can turn your cell phones off remotely. They think you need to be doing your homework, and you're sitting there and you're texting or you're talking, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. There are actually apps out there that allow your parents to take control of the camera on your phone and take a picture with it to see what you are doing. Now, you want to think about what you're doing with the understanding that your parents could be photographing you at that exact moment. And by the way, these are really not cost prohibitive. This particular one you can get for the low price of $4.95 a month. So what you need to consider, that even if you don't think your parents are the ones that would do this, who on down that line that is going to receive this information does have a parent that is standing there over their shoulder making sure that their kids aren't getting inappropriate information or sending it. So one of the big things that this actually leads into is bullying, because once you put your dignity in that box, once you hand it to somebody else, you're really opening yourself up to be bullied. So bullying's nothing new. I mean, it's defined as an aggression on a continual basis between peers when one has a power advantage over another, blah, blah, blah. Well, what it translates to, somebody knows something on you and they want to make your life a misery. And it's gone on forever, but what you guys are actually subjected to is cyberbullying, because now it doesn't even have to happen face to face. You can have someone sitting behind the relative comfort of their laptop, cell phone, or tablet, sending out all of this information into the internet, into the digital world, impacting your digital footprint. And why is this important? Well, there's a story about a girl named Hope Witzel. Hope was a 13-year-old girl. She was in middle school in Florida. She was, by the way, an excellent student, came from a very, very good family. She found this boy that she liked. She really, really liked him. And so they were talking back and forth, and he said, hey, you see me? Really wanted him to like her. So she did it. And he sends it out to about 10 of his closest friends. Within the span of days, the entire school has it. It actually travels to other schools. It goes to the high school. This was in the spring of one school year. The video that you're getting ready to see is going to talk about what happened with Hope and what she had to go through. That her life was an absolute living misery the spring of that school year. So she goes into summer. She thinks that this is going to get better. It's going to be a new school year. It will be a brand new start. It will all be okay. She starts the next school year, and it's worse. They are taunting her. They are making her life a misery. She goes home one night. Her mom comes in to check on her in her bedroom, and her mom thinks Hope's asleep. She's not. She's taken a scarf and she's put it around her neck, and she has hung herself because she cannot take it anymore. She put herself out there. Frankly, there are just people out there who are mean. They hurt her. So I want you to listen to her story and listen to the story of her mother.
And now to the tragic death of Hope Witzel, an 8th grader in Florida. She took her own life after enduring months of painful taunts and teases over a partially nude photo she texted to a boy. Hope's death is just the second teen suicide in the nation that we know about that's linked to sexting-related bullying. We're going to talk to her mother in a moment, but first NBC's Michelle Kaczynski has the details, and we should warn you, the story does contain some coarse language. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Meredith. You know, it hits you out here. This is a middle school, and this was a child whose friend said she could no longer handle the bullying after having sexted another child. This is a 13-year-old who ended up hanging herself from her bed.
People that, barely even knew her, talked about her and, laughed when she walked by. And
they are 8th graders. And Hope Witzel was a good girl, they say, passionate mostly about farming, but also about a certain boy she liked. And Hope told them she had made a mistake, had sexted him, sent a topless picture of herself to his cell phone. A photo soon intercepted and forwarded to the masses, even other schools. And then came the taunting.
Torturous, cruel.
That tested every fiber of this self-conscious middle schooler's being.
she took it. She took the pain.
These girls say Hope could not walk alone in the hallways, that the brutal name-calling, slut, and whore continued into the next school year.
We asked her if she wanted to switch schools, and she said, no, I'm going to show them that they can't get to me.
There were signs, though, that Hope blamed herself. The day before her death, a school counselor noticed cuts on her leg and had her sign a contract promising not to harm herself, information that never got to her parents. The following night, her mom went to tuck her in.
It was as if she was standing right there in front of me. And her head was hanging down. And I said, Hope, what are you doing? And then I realized there was a scarf around her neck.
Earlier this year, Ohio high school senior Jessie Logan took her own life in the same way after sexted photos of her from an ex-boyfriend went viral. Polls have shown that about a fifth of U.S. teenagers have sent racy pictures of themselves, leading in many cases to an instant consequence: bullying.
More and more people hear about it. More and more people like a target. More people throw it at you.
Feelings that Hope shared only with her diary.
Some of Hope's words were, please don't let them remember me by the mistakes that I made. Please, please make sure they remember me for who I was.
You know, you put a name on it like sexting, and it sounds almost like a game. But psychologists say kids at this age have no idea the consequences or how serious something like this could be. There have even been children arrested in this country for doing this because they don't realize that sending pictures like this could constitute disseminating child pornography. Meredith.
Michelle Kaczynski, thank you. We should note that the St. Petersburg Times broke this story. Hope's mother, Donna Witzel, is with us exclusively along with internet safety expert Perry Aftab. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Donna, we are so sorry for your loss. Everything that I've heard and read about your daughter Hope suggests to me, tells me quite clearly that she's a great kid, good student, went to church with the family, had a lot of friends, all of the above. 13 years old, had sexting ever been discussed between you and your daughter? Had the topic ever come up?
Sexting, the word, no, but, you know, she absolutely knew, you know. We don't have nude pictures around in our house. We don't, it's not something that's approved of. No, you know, we, as far as training them on the internet and what to look at and what not to look at, yes, you know, yes, we talked about it.
And then, as it turned out, she did sext a boy that she liked, and then this picture, as Michelle said, got disseminated throughout the school, middle and upper school. She suffered a lot of teasing. Did she tell you or your husband about the taunts?
Absolutely not through the most, only until the end. And it was actually only one episode, which was the Wednesday before September 12th.
So in the spring, when it first started, she didn't tell you anything. The school actually alerted you. They found out about the picture. You did what you thought was the right thing. You punished your daughter. You took away her computer. You took away her phone for a while, practiced a bit of tough love. Did you think that would be the end of it then? That she would be okay?
You know, as far as, you know, she received her punishment for her consequence for a mistake that she made. You set rules and boundaries in the household, and, you know, your child doesn't take out the trash, you know, or breaks a rule. You ground them, you punish them, you let it go. You love them. You know, you may talk with them. You may, something as serious as this, you don't let go. You continue to talk with them. You continue to try to keep that line of communication open. But most of all, you continue to love them. You don't shame them.
And yet this was eating away at her, Perry. And this is the second time we've heard of something like this, as Michelle pointed out. What is the message here?
Well, I think the message is this could happen to any kid. Good kids are the ones it's happening to. Jessie was a great kid, and that was about a year ago. And we have Hope, good kids, and they're the ones who are committing suicide when a picture like this gets out. More kids are doing than any of us understand, far more than the 20% we're seeing. You're going to hear some new numbers about that tomorrow.
And there are no laws with regard to sexting at this point.
Well, the laws are, if you take it, if you send it, if you have it, it's child pornography, and you can go to jail as a registered sex offender.
Donna, well, we appreciate you sharing Hope's story with us. Hopefully other people will listen.
First, let me tell you guys that suicide is never the option. It is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. With that being said, I wish I could tell you that Hope's story is unique. It is not. You heard on the video that she was the second known in the nation. By the way, that video was from 2009. You know, the prevalence of this occurring is a problem. And when you guys are taking actions, when you're holding these sticks of dynamite in your hand and you are waiting for the fuse to be lit, you need to be very, very careful. You know, as I said before, brace yourself because the embarrassing pictures from yesterday are coming. You know, one thing that I think is really, really important to remember, particularly for life, but while you're in school, because I think everyone who has been through it understands the angst that is there. In reality, when you graduate, when you move on, when you get to your next school year, you're not going to remember the girl who wore the cute outfit in class. You're not going to remember the guy who made a great play on the basketball court, who might have been a star of the academic team, or who was just the coolest guy there. What you are going to remember about the people that you are with is how they treated you and how they treated other people. So no matter how educated, talented, rich, or cool you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all, because integrity is everything. Don't be a jerk. Treat other people nicely. I am sure made at least 53 mistakes since I got out of bed this morning, and I am fairly certain that most everybody in here has too, but nobody wants those to be pointed out or harped on. How you treat people tells all. So, sitting here and talking about this, what does the law say? Because that's actually my job, that's what I do. You heard the nice lady on the video say that it constitutes child pornography, but that was in the state of Florida. Well, I'm here to tell you it constitutes many things in the state of Georgia. We have 3 main statutes by which you can have the esteemed privilege of becoming a convicted felon if you so choose to engage in this. Now let's talk about the first one. Any teenager in the state of Georgia who creates or possesses a sexually explicit image of himself or herself is guilty of a misdemeanor. Now, misdemeanor is 12 months incarceration and or $1,000 fine in our local county facility. If it is a felony, we will talk about that in a minute. The picture has to be of the teen, at least 14. The person who possesses it is 17 or less, and the person depicted in the image consented to both its creation and distribution. Otherwise, we are talking about a felony. So I am sure that there are individuals that I am in here talking to today that don't create or do not meet that 14-year-old threshold. Felony. If someone who possesses it is over 17, felony. If it is distributed without someone's permission, felony. Let's give an example. Let's say that Mary Sue and Bobby are dating, and Mary Sue and Bobby are dating, and Bobby goes to Mary Sue and says, hey, send me a picture of yourself. I'm going to like you more. And of course, Mary Sue, going back to the, we're in middle school, so we're in a loving, committed relationship forever and ever and ever, says, okay. And Bobby, being the gentleman, only sends it to 3 of his friends. It hits half the school, and Mary Sue's mama finds out about it. And she is mad. She is hot. She comes in and says, I want Bobby to be prosecuted. Because he sent out all these pictures of my lovely, wonderful daughter. And you know what? Bobby's a jerk, and Bobby should be prosecuted. Bobby will be prosecuted, but guess so what? So will Mary Sue. Read that top line again. Anyone who creates or possesses. She started that ball rolling. She is that 13-year-old girl that comes to court I told you about that cries every time she's there. I'll tell you, part of the reason she's probably crying is because I prosecuted her too. Real sorry for what happened to her. And gentlemen, if I could so much as enlighten you, the same applies to you. You send your pictures to a little girl. I will tell you, having been there, girls can be vicious. Do not put your dignity in a box and hand it over to someone else. So that would be the offense of sexual exploitation of children. Let me go ahead and give you a hint. Red flag on a college application or a job application if you put you've been convicted of that. But if we don't get you on that one, we can also get electronically furnishing obscene materials to minors. Now let's talk about this for a second. Let's say you receive a picture. You did not ask for the picture. What do you do with the picture? You delete it, because by the way, when we do those cell phone notes, we can tell the date received and the date deleted. But if we don't get you on the first two, we can always get you on the third, which would be computer or electronic pornography. All three of these can constitute felony offenses. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's see, how are we going to handle it? Are there any exceptions to the rule? But I took the pictures from my boyfriend or girlfriend. I had charged you with a crime as district attorney. You were coming into court. You're going to be Ethel Bailey, best defense attorney ever. Is that defense going to work? Or, I thought my friends had thought it was funny. Or, everybody forwards these pictures. Are you going to beat me with any of those excuses? No. Now, talking about penalties, it depends on whether or not you're tried as a juvenile or you're tried as an adult. And by the way, even though you may be a teenager, there are circumstances that you can be tried as an adult. But as a juvenile who is convicted of a sexting offense, juvenile courts have the discretion to impose penalties that can include probation, can include fines, community service, placement with a juvenile detention facility, or any other punishment that the court deems necessary, and just imposing curfews, drug screens, handing over all of your electronic devices, or better yet, giving the passwords to those to the court to be monitored. Now, let's go back just a second. So, let's reverse the roles and say Mary Sue asked Bobby for a photograph, and he goes, okay, and sends it to her. I'm fairly certain when Bobby took that photograph of himself and sent it to Mary Sue, that he did not think it was going to be worth a stint in YDC, which is most certainly where it could lead. But let's just say we elevate this and you are going to be tried as an adult teen. You will actually get the privilege of serving 1 to 20 in the state prison system, and a $5,000 up to a $100,000 fine. Now I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys, if somebody told me I had to come up with $5,000, I would scrape it together. I could probably make it happen. Somebody told me I had to come up with $100,000. I would tell you that would cost the roof over me and my kids' heads. It would be the food in our bellies and the clothes on our backs. It couldn't happen. You have these phones, you have these tiny sticks of dynamite, you are lighting the fuse. All of these things, the bullying, the embarrassment, the impact on your college or employment career, YDC or prison, is what happens when it explodes. Other legal consequences. Now, let's say the law doesn't get a hold of it, but Mary Sue's mama. Let's talk about Mary Sue's mama. She sent a picture to Bobby. Bobby distributed it. And let's just say Mary Sue and Bobby broke up, and Bobby decides that he's going to create an internet Facebook profile, uses her pictures, puts some false information on there, makes it sound a little juicy. Guess what? Not only can Bobby be sued, so can his parents. Actually, a very recent Georgia Court of Appeals opinion held just that the parents can be sued. Why is that important to you? Because that means the roof over your head, the food in your bellies, and the clothes on your back. When you are being malicious, when you are being mean, when you are posting personal information that belongs to someone else, that was your house flying away. So, one of the important things that we want to impress upon you, and you know what, I'll tell you, I have been talking this entire time to you guys, and I do not even know who has a cell phone. If you guys have a cell phone, tablet, or laptop, can y'all raise your hand for me? Okay, now keep your hands up. Everyone with your hand up at the conclusion of this presentation needs to move over to that side of the room. We are going to do a cell phone dump. Go ahead and lower it. I've got Ron there. He took a photo. I get what you have. So, let me ask you a question. Anybody here in this room get this feeling in the pit of their stomach of, when I just said I'm going to dump your phone, your tablet, or your laptop and see all of your new text messages, all your deleted text messages, your new, your old, your internet history? Because if you did, you are the ones I have been talking to the entire time. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. If you have any of the material on your phone, tablet, or laptop that you should not have, I am hereby giving you, which is, you delete every bit of material you have on that phone. I will not prosecute you for it if you do not put any more on your phone. I get a hold of your phone, your tablet, or your laptop, I will prosecute you for every bit of it that exists. So, free pass, take it. Who is the best district attorney in the entire world? Y'all are good. All right. So, the lesson in this, do not complain about the drama your actions created. You have to eat it, deal with it, and do better. If you have started this ball rolling and your picture or your friend's picture or your information has been disseminated, I am very, very sorry for you. You learn a lesson and you move forward. And you need to choose carefully, because the choices you make today will determine what you have and what you will have tomorrow. You don't put your dignity in a box. You don't hand it over to somebody else. You don't give somebody else that kind of power or leverage in your life to make you do things you might not otherwise do. Now, I will tell you, if there is an inappropriate photograph that's being disseminated or information that's being disseminated about you or your friends, or you are aware that it is going on, then you need to go talk to an adult that you trust. Go talk to a school administrator, your school counselor, your parents. You can contact me. I'm going to be here all day today. You need to tell someone it is going on, because although we cannot unring a bell at this point, we can at least help it stop. This is absolutely one of my other favorite quotes. It just makes me feel like you have your entire future in front of you. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose, you're on your own, and you know what you know, and you dare the one who'll decide where you'll go. You can be anything you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. But do not ever give somebody else the power over you that will limit your options. Don't let them have that information about you. Don't let them have those photographs of you. Don't let them hold your dignity in their hands. Now, we have Chief Judge Wooster, Juvenile Court here. Would you like to say anything, Your Honor?
I think you said most of it. I'll just add a couple of things from my vantage point as a judge. I don't want to see you guys in my court, okay? Do not want to. I know what Ms. Sosebee is saying. I believe very strongly in what she's saying. You all have a future ahead of you. Each one of you. Each one of you can be whatever you want to be in life. Simple as that. Pictures can last forever. Do not want that to get in the way of your futures.
Thank you, Judge. You know, he covers 3 counties, I cover 3 counties. You give me 1 second. We have a lot of work we have to get done. We feel strongly enough about what is going on that we have all came here today to make sure you understood and understand the ramifications of what is occurring. Now, did you have a question? What happens if a person, if you turn in the photo, you get possession of that and turn it in, you would not be prosecuted. You wouldn't. It's a very dangerous game. Photographs, disseminating this kind of information. You wouldn't. And frankly, I give you guys a pass today for a reason, because it alleviates my guilt. I came in, I told you what was going to happen. This is your clean slate, it's your free pass. I won't feel guilty after this. So the question becomes, why is it that we're all here? We want to see you be happy and healthy and well-adjusted and to be uber successful. So I wanted to play y'all a little song. You guys have been absolutely awesome. I am so happy that I spent my time here with you guys this morning, and I want to tell you thank you. I appreciate the opportunity of being able to speak to you, and if you would like to speak to me at the conclusion of the presentation, I will be down here. Otherwise, I am done. Thank you guys.